Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're having a warm Wednesday or someplace, you're at someplace warm, whether it's in your library or at home. Welcome to Pop YS Live, Supersize It, Summer Planning for Small, Medium, and Large Size Libraries. If you're new to Pop YS, welcome to you. My name is Janae Jackson Doring. I'm a youth service consultant with the State Library of Iowa. My contact info is right there on the screen. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions or things you want to know about what you can do at your library. I love to come and visit your library, and a lot of people that have seen me, they know I bring a goodie bag of books with me for you to keep. So please reach out. I'd love to chat with you. And we have a special edition of Pop YS because we have four wonderful panelists who have experienced all the joys, the woes, the ups and downs known as summer reading. Because let's face it, summer reading is a beast. It can be a beast. And we're going to help you tackle the beast so you can have a wonderful time planning and executing your summer reading programs. So I'm going to let each person introduce themselves. They're going to tell you their name, their title, the size library that they are working with. And our first question for them is just to have them give us a quick overview of what a typical summer might look like in your library. So whoever would like to start, take it away.
I'm Alex Hansen. I'm the library director for Manson Public Library. We're a size C library with a population of about 1,700, just under that or right around it anyway. Our typical summer is geared towards like the younger kids mostly. We're working on adding on. Last year was my first year here, so we added a teen program. But otherwise, it's 3 age groups divided between 2 days. And it kind of depends on the summer, on what else is going on, whether we go like weekly or every other week type of situation.
I'm Joy Metzger, and I am from Whittemore, and we are an A-size library. After the last census, we lost 3 people to keep us in the B size, but I serve roughly the same amount of people. We usually run our summer library program through the month of June, and we do meet weekly. I have a story time group and a reading program group. And I would say roughly I see between the 2 groups about 60 kids in our size town, which I think is pretty good. I've been doing this for a lot of years. So every year can be a challenge, though.
Absolutely.
I'm Nancy Rosiska. I'm the children's librarian at the Guttenberg Public Library. We are a size C library. I've been doing this for about 11 years now. Our program runs 6 weeks. We usually start the summer reading challenge like a week after school's out because the kids are just really chomping at the bit to get at the books right away. But then we don't start our programming until about the 2nd or 3rd week in June, just because we have Vacation Bible School that runs a full week and takes over 100 of our kids. So we don't want to interfere with that. So we always wait that out and then start our programming. And we usually have 1 program a week for the kids here at the library. And then I always have a lot of interactive activities for them to do in the library during the week, along with our dramatic play area that I can talk a little bit more about later.
Thank you, Nancy. And finally,
I'm Janice Comer. I'm at the Indianola Public Library. Excuse me, we're a size F. I think our town is just over 15,000 at this point. And we usually start we have our kickoff on the Thursday after Memorial Day. That's usually right when the kids are getting out of school. It's either the last day or the day before the last day. We have our kickoff party, and then we start our programs in June. We actually program for kids and families 6 days a week in June. And then we cut that back in July to just story times and a few family programs here and there for the rest of it. So we run June and July, but we really front load it in June because we found we have a year-round school, and a lot of those kids are our kids. And so one of the 4 elementaries is starts back on like the 10th of July. And so we lose a lot of participants at that point. So we really just go hard in June, and then run the rest. The reading challenge goes all the way through June and July, but the programs slow down quite a bit in July. I don't know what else I was supposed to say there. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
that's
a little fuzzy today.
no, that's perfect. And it's always good to like see what's happening in your town or community, especially Nancy with Vacation Bible School, making sure that planning programs so that way your kids have an ability to go to your programs and not miss out on those other opportunities. And also in July, of course, things die down, people go on vacations, trips, baseball, all the things happen in July. So we're going to move to our second question. And our second question is, can you give us an overview of your summer reading planning process? So what does that look like?
Well, I probably am a little old school. I still print out the program portion of the manual, and then I go through it with my highlighter and highlight anything I think might work for us. And then I'll go back another time with make notes, put sticky notes in. And then probably the third time is when I'll actually make this is what I think we're going to do. So, but I like to have that paper so I can write a lot of notes on it. And there's always sticky notes sticking all over in my desk. So
Yes, Joy, I agree with you. I'm very old school. I have a plethora, and I mean a plethora of highlighters. So I have my coffee, I had the resource guide and my highlighters and my notebook and pen, and I'm just marking, just like you, going through that resource guide to see what will work for your community and what won't. Yes, absolutely. And just making notes of what you want to plan and maybe, oh, well, this plan could wait till the school year. So absolutely. Other thoughts?
I spend a lot of time going back and forth between my calendar and and a spreadsheet, like a budget spreadsheet. So I also have to work around. We just have one program room here, and so I have to work around all the adult programming and the teen programming as well because we're pretty heavily programmed again, not just me in June. So I need to make sure that, okay, I want these mornings and these evenings and make sure that we have time for everybody to have what they need as far as program time. And so once I've got all those sort of penciled in where I would like, then I start saying, okay, now what can I do for those programs? So, okay, we're going to have a family program on this night. Now, what do I want to do for that family program? And then start working with the budget. How many of those programs am I going to have? And how much can I sort of appropriate for each of those programs? And then what can I do with it? So I've already got boxes filling my desk at this point. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely looking at that budget.
the budget is big for us, yeah, between that spreadsheet and the calendar to make sure that we've got time for everybody is sort of a scheduling nightmare. So
Time and money, making sure you have both to accommodate everything. Nancy or Alex, what are your thoughts?
I am kind of a combination between old school and like kind of techie. I like to design myself like once I've picked what days we're gonna do, Then I go through and make I don't know, it's kind of like a planning sheet,
Mhm.
like separate from my actual planner. And then I go through the guidebook, and I just look at it online and I jot down like page numbers and a little note about what I'm thinking, if it's going to work or not. Um, I start with like my big ideas first, and then I kind of work backwards and fill in the details from there. Um, I also do a lot of like looking at like the Pinterest board and the Facebook group. You can get a ton of really cool ideas from there that aren't necessarily in the guidebook that tend to work better for like my size library or like my community. So that's kind of how I approach it.
Absolutely. Looking at those Pinterest boards are fantastic. And if you haven't had a chance, please look at iRead's Pinterest board. They did a fantastic job with a plethora of ideas for this year's theme, Level Up at Your Library. They did a wonderful job. I have a Pinterest board that I've also put up. It's on the Summer Library Program webpage. It's got a ton of resources just as much as I read, and I'm continuing to upload new ideas up through June. So definitely take a peek at those boards as well. Other thoughts?
So I do mine a little different. So being a very creative person, I always have to start with like what theme I'm going to go with. Once I get the theme down, then I kind of decide what my activities would be in the library for the kids to do all summer long, including the dramatic play area. After those two things are figured out, then I kind of dive deeper into the detail of what programs we'll have, what days they will be on, whether they'll be at the library or in the park. Um, the reading logs that the kids use. Our kids absolutely love the bingo ones, so we go with those quite a bit. But yeah, I always have to have the theme, and then I kind of taper things from there to plan the rest of it.
Yeah, and some libraries use the I read theme, some have used a different theme, and that's okay. Everybody at their libraries, everyone does summer reading differently, and there's no right or wrong way to conduct a summer reading program. If you have a history or a local 150th anniversary of your library, maybe you do a theme around that. If you are using the summer reading theme, great. So every library is going to look different. And Denise says she loves the bingo boards. Nancy, she talked about the bingo boards. She also loves the bingo boards. And yes, I will put a link to the Pinterest board at the end of the presentation. So don't worry about that. We will get all those Pinterest board links on in the chat before we go today. And our third question. So, knowing how you guys organize and plan your summer reading programs, now here's the fun part. Tell us about a favorite summer reading program from the past couple of summers. And with this question, I'm going to start with Alex and Nancy for these questions because they have provided pictures. So we'll start with Alex first.
Right. Gosh, I've only had 1 year of summer reading. And my pictures there are actually part of my favorite program that we did. And it was with the Read, Renew, Repeat theme. And we did like recycled yard games. All of the stuff there was either recycled or were things that were donated by patrons, or things we already had in the library. So like everything was duct taped together. We had a ton of duct tape that was like getting old anyway. And so those were just games that I threw together, and they were the highlight of our summer library programming last year. The kids loved them. They were like, "Can we do this next time?" And I'm like, "Well, this is our our last, in-person time together." But they were a huge hit. The bottom picture there, on the left side, it was like a rainy morning, so I couldn't take those kids outside. So we just played a game in the library. They used the pool noodles to try to keep the balloons up. And they thought it was so fun. And they're like the group that was typically harder to please. Um, and then on the right there, that's actually, those were my mom's hedgehogs. It was like kind of a last minute, we just kind of threw it in as like, hey, come meet a hedgehog or two. And my daughter brought her friends in and her friend's little sister. So my daughter's there in like the navy blue-ish shirt, making the silly face, and her besties. And that drew in such a huge crowd. And it was so simple. Like we just, advertised it a little bit on social media and word of mouth got around. And I mean, we had like 30 people show up, which is like kind of a huge deal for our little library. So
How
yeah.
many hedgehogs does your mom have?
She had two. She had a male and a female, so that's why they were in separate containers because they weren't fixed. They are both deceased now. They both got the wobble disease, which is common in hedgehogs, but she'd had the male for like 5 years, I think, which is a pretty long time. So yeah, it was really cool. She was awesome because she let the kids hold them if they wanted to, with support, and she let them pet them, and so it was really, really cool for us and the kids. I mean, I think the adults enjoyed it just as much too. So
I love this bottom picture that you were able to come up with an activity on the fly, given it was a rainy day. And sometimes with summer, you could plan with the best intentions, but we can't, sometimes we can't plan the weather. We can't, especially if it's hot or if it's raining. But I love this bottom picture where they're using the pool noodles to keep the balloons up. And how many kids
yeah.
did you have that day?
Oh gosh, that was our third through fifth grade group, and they are a small bunch. I think we had 10 registered and only like 5 or 6 showed up at a time. We do have enough floor space that like it's easier to do inside activities like that. We just,
Mhm.
if we need to, we can shove the tables aside too, but yeah.
And for your recycled crafts that are the outdoor activities, where did you get the items for these events? I mean, you had the duct tape there. Was
Mhm.
this items you could find at the Dollar Tree or?
All of our pool noodles, we had probably 5 or 6 in our storage area, but then the rest were donated by patrons. Because I'd put out a list of like, hey, if you have these things you don't need anymore. And like our community came through. That's not even all the pool noodles
Oh,
like
wow.
we had. So it was pretty amazing.
So asking your community to step up, see if they have any pool noodles or if they could purchase some for the library.
Mhm.
Just another way of having that community pride and having them show up and look what happened. A lot of
Yeah.
engagement, fun activities, especially being outdoors. This is fantastic. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
And we are now going to turn to Nancy. Nancy will tell us about her dramatic play areas that she has at Guttenberg Public Library.
Okay, so after about the first or second year that I was here as the children's librarian, I noticed how the kids were just kind of coming in, grabbing their books and leaving, not really hanging out or getting to know the librarians here or anything. So we had a couple cabinets that were donated to the library that weren't really being used anymore. So I turned them sideways and made kind of a little play area for them. So it started with one of the first summer reading programs, and I made it into like a NASA spaceship. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. I do a different dramatic play area about 3 to 4 times a year. There's different ones that go up. So the particular picture that you're looking at is last year's. I think it was one of the kids' favorites. The theme was Adventure Awaits at Your Library. So I made all of this out of cardboard. So it's just cardboard covered in paper. So I had an airplane. We had an area where you could sit and be the pilot. We had the little headphones that you could wear. We had a pilot hat, a little pilot tie. And then in the cabinet behind the plane was where the stewardess could go. And we had a little stewardess name tag. We had different sandwiches you could make with pretend food. We had little pretend juice bottles, a little like menu order form that they could go out and ask the passengers what they wanted to eat on the flight. The black box on the left was where you would put your suitcases through for security. So I had some cardboard boxes made up at suitcases that they could put through there. We also had a little ticket area where they could scan the ticket to get on the plane. The kids just absolutely loved it. And I kept it up throughout the whole summer into the fall until pretty much the plane fell apart
How
because
long
it was used so much.
How
So
long
that was one of my favorite ones.
how long did it take you to put this all together?
I'm getting pretty quick at it because I've done it for about 10 years now. I would say it took me maybe a day and a half to pull it all together.
Wow.
And I've asked the furniture stores in the area to save me like their big boxes when they get furniture in and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And then I keep some in storage and just kind of reuse and reuse as much as I can.
That's really cool that furniture stores that they're willing to donate their boxes to you for these dramatic play areas. I mean, what a great use of boxes because kids love playing in boxes, but you can do anything with boxes. This is fantastic. And even the little TSA security area, that's adorable.
Yeah, so this gets the kids in when we're not having programs, just to come in and feel comfortable being in the library, getting to know us, getting to know where all the books are, and just feeling comfortable. A lot of grandparents will bring their kids in and just hang out and just let the kids play. So it's been very popular for us.
And then with your food, you said they can make sandwiches. Is the food made out of felt, or do you have like some plastic food, toy food, or
So the sandwiches were the felt. We had bought
felt?
some felt sandwiches, yeah.
Very cute. Looks like we got a comment. Ash Martin from LeClaire. She said, "Also, they're saying ask your local post offices if they're willing to give you their large boxes. They usually have a lot." That's a great idea. This is fantastic. I mean, just looking at that, it's very inviting. When you put this together, these dramatic play areas, what do you see from the kids? I mean, how are they reacting? Do they react to it very well? Do they have more interaction with you and Katie there at the library?
Yeah, they really do. Like I say, they come in and if I change it, they're like, oh, well, what happened to like right now we have like a firehouse and a fire truck. And then once that gets changed out, they'll be like, well, what happened to that? Or what's going up next if I don't get to it for a few days? So it's always this like little surprise for them. We've had some kids come in and just say, this is the best library ever. This is so fun. And I want the kids to feel comfortable and to have a good image of the library as they get older of like, when I was young, I used to go there to play. It was so much fun. It wasn't just you have to sit and read a book. It was using your imagination and being creative and playing with other kids, just have different groups come in and they just instantly become friends and start playing.
And learning those social emotional skills as well while they're playing, and creating memories. I mean, all of you have memories of going to the library and their positive experiences. And this is just another way of providing a positive memory and experience for a child and a caregiver. And I'm going to show the other pictures that Nancy provided. Can you tell us about these pictures?
Yeah, so this one was Read Beyond the Beaten Path. So we did kind of a camping theme. So inside the tent itself, we had like a fake little grill with the plastic food. You could grill hot dogs and burgers, and there was buns and stuff like that that you could come out and sit and eat around the little artificial fire there. The other side was a dramatic play, kind of more for the girls. It had little skipper dolls that they could change clothes or put them in the sleeping bags or let them sleep in the tent. And then when the kids signed up for the summer reading, I did this mural on the right-hand bottom corner out in our front lobby. And when the kids signed up, I took a picture of them. We cut their face out, and they got to choose which animal they wanted to be in the forest. And so we cut out the face of the animal and put the kids' face in it, and put it out in the lobby to help just publicize to our other patrons what the kids are doing in the library, how involved they are, and how good the summer reading program is doing. And then the kids also just loved bringing their parents in or their grandparents and showing them, this is where I am, and this is the animal I chose. And then they go in and start playing in the dramatic play area. Or we had a lot of books that year that we purchased about camping and outdoors. And we had that display up so they could take books home that had campfire songs in them, or talked about the trees or the animals and stuff like that, that all tied together for them.
I love this. I love how you have the pictures of the kids on the animals, and then they can just point to their picture and say, "Look, that's me, Mom." Look." I love that. And this camping tent is very, very creative. How long did it take you to make this?
That one was a little longer. The hardest part was actually the trees. So I would say that took me and my associate probably 3-4 days to get that one going.
Wow. And inside the tent, are is I see there's a little window. What can they do inside the little tent?
So inside this tent, on the left-hand side, there was a little cardboard box that I made look like a grill. And then we had the plastic food that they could grill out. We had a little spatula, we had paper plates, we had paper cups. And then on the other side was the doll area. And actually the furniture was made out of little popsicle sticks that the
Oh,
kids were able to see and use also.
very clever. Denise has a question. How do you decide what setting to create for dramatic play?
Oh gosh, it's just kind of a shot in the dark. I just kind of go on Pinterest and start looking around to see kind of what strikes me. I think one of the other favorite ones, I mean, I've done so many, we did a brick fire pizza place at one point, and that was just amazing. The kids got to make their own pizzas and put all the ingredients on it, and we had a little soda machine made up, and a table that they could go serve their parents at, and a cash register so they could learn to count money and all kinds of stuff like that. So just kind of whatever theme or something that jumps out at me as I'm surfing Pinterest that I think the kids would like, then we just kind of grow on that.
Awesome. Awesome. Joy, can you tell us about what favorite programs you have for summer?
I've had a lot of favorite programs, but last year during the program, we did I always like to have the kids get a sense of community. And we did pick up trash day. Our friends group gave us t-shirts last year, and so everybody wore their bright lime green t-shirt, and as a group we went out. We're about 2 blocks away from where the kids play ball, and they're usually the night before we meet. So we went down there and we policed the area, picked up garbage. Everybody had their own little bag, and some of them had gloves, some of them were too tough for that. And we did that. Not only does it give the kids a sense of community, but it also let the community see us.
Mhm.
And I kind of like doing a few things so that they know we're here, this is what we're doing. And the kids had a lot of fun. The boys, of course, came back and compared what was the most gross thing they picked up.
Ah,
And then everyone went in and washed their hands. But that really was a lot of fun. And I think that the kids got something out of it too.
yeah. So and you had these lime green shirts. Did you go to a local printer to have them made, or did you order them
Yeah,
direct, or how
we
that?
had a local person make them, and they weren't really the year's theme or anything. They were kind of a generic reading shirt, so they can be used as the years go on, and
Sure.
maybe older siblings can pass them down. But they were nice and bright, and I knew where everybody was because they had them on.
Right. Especially you see that during field trips for school, how some schools have kids wearing the same color shirt so they can keep everybody together and make sure little Johnny doesn't get lost somewhere. And they're like, "Oh, there he is. He's got the lime green shirt on." And I love it. I love how you have a sense of community where people see, "Oh, that's the library doing that. Wow, they're picking up trash. Wow, the library's doing that. I need to go check out the library, see what they're doing." I love it. So the community's identifying with what you're doing with kids, and it encourages people to check out what's happening at the library. I love it. Thank you. Janice.
Well, I like the sciencey stuff. And science is expensive, so I haven't been able to do it quite as well as I did the year coming out of COVID, because I had money to burn that year because we hadn't done any programming. But we did a mystery science. And so they each kid, this was for kindergarten through fifth grade, and I had them split up into 3 different age groups, and they would get a box that they couldn't open until it was, because we were planning at the time, we were still planning for to be closed. We weren't sure we were going to be open for programming in June.
Sure.
So I had planned it to do on our YouTube channel. So they
Mhm.
would come in, pick up their box, go home, and then we would do it together on our YouTube.
Mhm.
And then we were open, so yay. But each box had 2 or 3 different experiments that were kind of related. And then we would just go through each of these experiments, and they were so much fun to put together, and the kids had such a blast because some of them didn't work. I tried to test them all beforehand, but sometimes when you're doing it in the moment, it doesn't work. But
Yeah.
maybe that kid's worked and mine didn't, or that kid, and so it was really fun to have them like experiment and experience the fact that sometimes experiments don't turn out the way that you would think they're going to, which was really, really cool. So I really enjoyed that. Every year since 2021, I've been asked, can we do the mystery science again? And I can't do it to that scale, but every summer I do at least one messy science program for that age group. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I like the messy stuff. And when my kids were little, I didn't like to do the messy stuff at home. So I'm like, hey, you know what? Now that I'm here, I'll have all of those parents who don't want to do the messy stuff at home send their kids here. We'll do the messy stuff here. That's fine. So excuse me. So we have those at least once a summer, with I don't know, slime and different types of slime, and then, things that explode or things that will zap other things. One of the things that I really liked, but my family didn't like so much, because I had to make the cabbage juice. If you have not done the pH testing cabbage juice with like purple cabbage juice, what you're doing is you get, I had, I don't know, like 30 heads of cabbage that I cut up and boiled, the purple cabbage. And boil it and then strain it. So you've just got the purple juice, and
Uh,
it's an amazing pH tester. And I thought it was going to be like, oh yeah, sure. They say so. No, no, no. It's super cool. So lemon juice, it turns one color, and Tide laundry detergent, it turns a different color. So
whoa.
we got lots and lots of oohs and ahs on that one, but my family was not thrilled because we don't have a kitchen at the library. So I was boiling, 30 heads of cabbage at my house. They were not thrilled. But that one I would really recommend if you can do, your cabbage boiling someplace that's not at your house so that your kids are like, Mom, our house smells bad. Do that one. That one's really cool. And then the other thing that I also really enjoy, and we've done this every year for probably 8 years now, I was approached by our then pool manager, the Parks and Rec guy that was in charge of the pool. And he said, "Hey, you want to come do a story time at our pool?" And
Yes.
I'm thinking, okay, yeah, that's fine. And our story times, at the time we were getting, 25 kids. They've grown since then, but I thought, yeah, sure, I can come and do one. And they have a tot splash time in the morning. So I go during one of those on a Saturday and just do a story time. We splash in the pool. I bring music along so it's basically just a regular story time like I do here, except they're in the pool and they get to splash around and stuff. And that one's really, really popular. We get huge turnouts for that. That's actually one of the biggest programs the Parks and Rec has too. So they're really happy with that. So I really highly recommend that one as well. If you can partner, anytime you can partner with the other departments in your city, touch a trucks or going to the pool for a story time. It gets you out there and people love them. So those
It's
are
a
probably my two favorites. The science stuff though, man, I love that stuff. If you can make things smell bad or look weird, I'm all in.
Yes, I am definitely in for slime. I can't tell you how many times I had parents say to me, "I'm glad we're doing this here at the library and not at home." I would hear that a lot. And we also have one more picture from Nancy. Nancy, can you tell us a little bit about this program that you had for your Take Me to Your Reader summary theme?
Okay, so this one here had to do with aliens. So we had a lot of alien stuff around the library. The spaceship is just made out of an old patio umbrella that was sprayed, just some bowls that were sprayed, a pumpkin that made the alien, and it had lights hanging down from the inside of it. And so we put that actually up in our park. And so it lit up at night. And then we had a sign down below it that it said it was from the Guttenberg Public Library as part of our summer reading program. And we also did that with the previous slide with the camping. We actually had a plywood Bigfoot cut out and put up in the park. And tourists and patrons loved that. There were people looking at it or looking for it the next summer, but it, was at my house at that point. They thought it was a permanent fixture. But anyhow, so we had this up in the park for everybody to see and know that there was a summer reading program going on. And then as our dramatic play area, we had some like a spaceship, and it had all kinds of controls in there and a computer and the headsets and stuff like that that the kids could play with in there also. So as other libraries, we like to have the community know what's going on with the library during the summer and what the kids are up to. So if it's not the story walk boards that are up in the business windows, we try to put some sort of structure in the park with a sign publicizing what the library is doing.
I love it. That partnership. Partner with your Parks and Recs departments. They can do wonders for your library. And this is very creative, very, very creative. Thank you, everyone, for sharing
Thank
those
you.
ideas. And thank you to sharing Alex and Nancy for sharing those photos. So, really quickly, how do you manage stress during summer reading, and what tips can you share with the group? I love this photo. I had to find this photo. Uh, who would like to start?
I can start with this one. Um, I am like a big believer in like taking care of yourself and making sure you're not burning yourself out. Um,
Yes,
the biggest thing for me is like, especially with last year being my first year of summer reading, all I had to do was look around at the kids' faces, and if they were smiling, we're golden. It doesn't matter if things were going according to my plan or not. And I think that helps take a lot of the stress out of it. Like if the kids are having a good time, does it really matter? And I just reminded myself of that. And also making sure that I didn't let my hobbies sit unused. Like even if I was kind of tired, I'd still pick up my crochet and, do my thing, hang out with my family. My family is really great about being my sounding board. So they'll listen to me whine and gripe about things that I'm frustrated with. And they'll also tell me like that's a really dumb idea or that's a great idea. So Just making sure like you're kind of talking through your feelings and your worries, even
Yeah.
if it's with people who aren't in your library, because you can actually be surprised by how many cool ideas random people in your life might have. Um, and then just remind yourself to breathe and rest when you need it.
Yes.
The world's not going to end if you don't get everything done that's on your to-do list for summer reading. And just have fun with it.
Absolutely. Joy, what tips can you share?
Well, I agree wholeheartedly. If the kids are having a good time, even if it isn't going exactly how you thought it was going to go, you were successful. And just go with that. When I leave the library, though, I go home to my backyard and my flowers and my garden, and I just sit out there and relax. And I don't care if anything else gets done. But yeah, just don't sweat the programs. Just know that the kids are enjoying them. You did okay.
That's right. Things can wait till tomorrow. Things can wait. The library's not on fire. Things can wait. Yes. Janice, let's hear from you.
I mostly just go head down and forward, especially in June. So my answer when I was writing out some notes was ha 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 to this one because June is just a nightmare, but I get through that and then I can kind of coast a little bit through July. So all of that is really great advice and I should be taking it, but I don't, unfortunately, in June. I just head down, barrel forward, and get to June 30 and be happy that June's done. So, but at the same time, going along with some of that, nothing else gets done. You know, I do the ordering for the J section, board books all the way up through J fiction. I don't do any of that in June at all. The only thing really that I'm doing in June is prepping and doing programs and then recovering from them. But everything else just gets put aside because there's no time for it. So that's one less thing to worry about. But yeah, no, ha 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 ha, managing stress.
And Nancy.
Um, well, I agree with all the other ladies. Just a lot of pre-planning. To me, that's the stressful part. It's just the pre-planning and getting the details all worked out. And then just rolling with it. And like they said, if the kids are enjoying it, that's all that matters. They're just there to learn something and to have some fun, to be with their friends. So yeah, just if it doesn't go as planned, nobody knows that. As long as you get through it and the kids are enjoying it, that's the main part.
That's right. And also just schedule those times where you can have some self-care. I am notorious for going and getting a massage. I have no shame in that. None. I did that all through summer reading. I scheduled June, July, August when I was having a massage. I will reach out to family. I would go to farmers markets. That helped me calm down a bit. I took time off, like a day just to breathe and calm down and read, watch Netflix sometimes when I did have Netflix. Sometimes you just need those moments and it's okay. So take that time for you. Do not be ashamed to take that time. You are worth it. You are needed and you are needed by your staff and you're needed by your community because you can't fill your cup up. You can't fill someone else's cup up unless your cup is filled. So take that time for you. Moving right along, we're going to talk about how do you scale a program, either scale a program idea up or down to fit your library's needs. We'll start with Janice.
Um, well, it's really more a budgeting problem usually for me than anything. You know, a lot of the ideas that I see on Pinterest or in the manuals, if it's $2 or $3 per person, that's out of my range. I can't do that because we're looking at, especially for the family programs, we're looking at, 200 to 300 people over at those. So I do a lot of craft type things, especially for those big family programs. And I need to be able to figure out how to do something on a really big scale for those. I can't plan for 20 because 20 is not going to do it. So it's really a budgeting problem. So I a lot of times will start with, hey, here's this really cool idea. I can't do that. So what can I do that's similar to it, and how, and then it's just clicking on Pinterest to try to find something that's similar to it, and then clicking on Amazon and through OpenTip, and some of the Dollar General or Dollar Store actually has a lot of craft stuff. I didn't realize that until last summer. They have a lot of craft stuff that's really, it's $1. So in bulk. So you can get a lot of things that way, which was really helped a lot for those big craft programs that I do. So it's just really a matter of trying to figure out what I want to do, and then figuring out how I can do it, and what can I change in order to make it work for my community and my budget more than anything. So yeah, it's always a dollar problem for me, trying to scale things up and down. We also have a problem with our program. Like I said, our program room, we've only got one program room. And so I a lot of times plan things for outside those family programs. I plan them to be outside and just hope that the weather cooperates, because there's no room for it in here. We can't do, we can't host 300 people in the library. It just doesn't fit. So trying to make sure that I can get the space and figure out something that we can do outside, that maybe we can then move in if we have to, and what that looks like. So yeah, I ran into a problem last year. I had planned like not a petting zoo. It was just a local farm that had baby animals. And so I invited them and was figuring, maybe 70 people, because it was, little kids. It's like baby chickens. And it was great. And we had 350 people show up. And so all of a sudden I'm trying to figure out how to make that work with the animals that we had and the volunteers that we had. So anticipating, that's been a problem for me. Anticipating how many people are actually going to show up, so that you're not scaling something up for 300 people and have 50, or scaling it down because, oh, you're only going to have 50 to 70 people, and all of a sudden you've got hundreds that are pouring in. So it's tough, but I do spend a lot of time just going back and forth between Pinterest and Amazon, or some of those other supply places, to try and figure out, I can't afford that, but what can I change that to? Okay, I can't afford these big terrariums, but I can get something smaller from the Dollar Tree and they work just as well, and kids are happy with it. So that's what
I love it. All right, Nancy, Joy, and Alex, we're going to go in that order because we're narrowing down time. So,
Okay. Well, for ours, we don't have to so much worry about the programming, because we have a really good Friends of the Library group that helps pay for the professionally paid programs that we have. And then for the activities for the kids that I have at the library here, it's kind of a go to the cabinet and what extra stuff do I have? Pipe cleaners, styrofoam balls, paints, odds and ends. And then just every week I'll put something out on a table as a craft table. So when they do come in to renew their books or get new books or just hang out with us, there's always an activity on the table for them to do. We don't per se have just a day of crafting or anything like that. So it can be as simple as coloring pages or Play-Doh with different cookie cutters, to something with the pipe cleaners and the beads, making necklaces, bracelets, things like that. And so I guess my idea of scaling up a program is kind of what I do with the dramatic play. I take the theme and then I just build bigger and better on that for them to have something to do the entire summer in the library.
Thank you. And Joy.
Well, one thing I do like to use is if I can find community helpers who can sometimes do programs or uh, even help with summer reading, I try to use those as much as I can. Last year, I had a lady who does sleeping mats out of old plastic grocery sacks, and she came and demonstrated that to the kids. So I do try to find as many community helpers as I can around that are close. That helps a lot. And if I need craft supplies, I only need to say, I need this, and wow. Last year I did 2 crafts. One was used empty ketchup bottles, and the other one was plastic water bottles. And I just put it out to the community, and before long, my desk looked like the recycling center in town. And I had to actually go on Facebook and say, okay, I have plenty, stop. So,
Yep.
but honestly, I have good community support, and I think that helps with the up and the down scaling a lot. Use those resources.
Thank you. And Alex.
My biggest advice is for scaling things up and down is look at what you have available and look at what your community actually needs. What you have available as far as money, materials, and people or other resources, and get creative. Don't be afraid to kind of think outside the box and go, maybe you have to go a totally different route, but use those resources that you do have. Use the internet and use your colleagues. Don't be afraid to ask for help if you are stuck on how to scale something up or down. Reach out for help.
Absolutely. This is great advice. Wonderful. We got a couple minutes, so we're going to try to move quickly. How do you handle no-show performers during summer reading, and what's your backup plan? Who would like to start?
I can start. I have never experienced this, and I hope I never do. But you can't go wrong with a dance party. Throw on some tunes. Um, and you can even do different games, like red light, green light, Simon Says, that kind of thing, and you can easily kill an hour just by having a dance party and playing some group games.
Excellent. Janice, what about you? How do you handle no-show performers and a backup?
I always just panic right up until. And then so far I haven't had any, but we don't really do a lot of performers. So I didn't have a whole bunch to add on that one. We just don't our community doesn't come out for performers, so I don't really do too many. The few that I've had though, if they came in like right at the time, I was probably running around like a chicken with my head cut off. So I don't have a plan. But that's good advice with the dance party. I like that. I'll be writing that down.
Absolutely. And Nancy, what about you? How do you handle no-show performers and a backup?
Well, we actually had that issue come up last summer. The performer got sick like 2 days in advance, but emailed on a Sunday. The director didn't get it until a couple days later, and like 2 hours before they were supposed to be there, she found the email. So it was a panic situation. And I was trying to figure out what to throw together, what could we do, and ultimately it was just too short a time. So we just had to put signs up in the area, the building that we were going to have the performance, and say that, ultimately we're very sorry, there will not be a program today, but, come hang out at the library with us. And we were able to reschedule,
Yes,
and everything went well.
that's a great idea. That's a wonderful idea. And Joy, how have you handled no-show performers and backups?
Luckily, I have never had a no show, but a couple years ago, we were going to do the Absolute Science foam party thing, and
Mhm.
it was an absolutely cold, cloudy,
Oh,
miserable day. Not ideal for being outside in your swimsuit in the foam.
no.
Luckily, the guy who was going to give the program had a backup idea, and we did pop bottle rockets. It
Wow.
was the best program I think we've had in years. The kids absolutely loved it. I mean, they just made these little rockets out of paper and shot them off in the air by stomping on a pop bottle, and it was a huge success. So thank you for performers for being capable of switching at the last minute.
I love it, being prepared. And for those of you that have said, "Oh my gosh, I've never had someone no show." If you have a situation where that happens, have a backup story time. Have a backup story time ready to go just in case if they don't show up. Do a dance party. Have some toys in the kids area or in the meeting room so they can just have a play area where they could just play, or some passive crafts, or as Nancy had, a sign saying, "Hey, come to the library for some other activities." Those are some great ways to tackle that issue if it comes up. And finally, with the time that we've got left, what advice would you give to new youth librarians or directors who are starting to plan summer reading? What's a good piece of advice?
Well, I think this has probably been said a couple of times today, but honestly, do not get too wrapped up in it has to go this way or I have to use everything that's in the manual. You know your library, you know your patrons, and if a program doesn't come off exactly how you had planned it, just remember, if everybody's having a good time, you're successful.
What you plan is enough.
Yes. And I would also say enjoy and embrace the chaos. That's half the fun of it. It's just the absolute chaotic joy that the kids experience at the library in the summertime.
Absolutely. Janice?
I was just gonna say, I mean, all of those things, and then you can't do all of it. So all of the really cool ideas that you have are going to be great, and you can't do them all, so scale them back. That took me about 5 years to figure out. So that would be my piece of advice. Get all the cool ideas, put them down on paper, and then start scaling them back.
Scale them back or save them for the school year or save them
Mhm.
for next summer. That's totally great ideas. And Nancy?
I would just say, don't try and tackle it all on your own. If you have an associate or you have someone at the library or a volunteer, bounce ideas off them. Ask them to come in and help cut things out or help decorate or anything that's going to give you a little less stress that you don't have to facilitate everything. And if you have a blockage and can't figure out what to do, again, rely on others. Ask questions. Ask Janae for some help. She has wonderful ideas. And yeah, it'll all work out.
Absolutely. This has been a lot of really, really good advice. So I hope everyone take note. This panel provided some wonderful information. So thank you to everyone for providing that wonderful info and insight and all of your summer reading expertise. This will help everybody who are in the throes of planning summer reading. So thank you all. Really quickly, just to let you know, STEM fairs and summer reading summits, the registration is now open. You can register on Workday Learning. The links are there. If you want to know more information, go onto the State Library of Iowa's website to learn about the STEM fairs and register. So register as soon as you can. The proposals for STEM fairs, we are looking for more people to present. Proposals are due this Friday by 4:30 p.m. If your New Year's resolution is to present a presentation for the first time, now's the time to do it. The link is there. The link is there. You can learn about what's going to be presented at the STEM fair and submit your proposal, or email me if you want questions, or if you have questions. And yes, if you have entered a proposal, yes, please register just in case. That's a good question. Thank you, Ash. Also, January 14th is the All Iowa Reads author presentations from 10 a.m. to noon. You can register on Workday Learning and meet all three authors, Tim Johnston, Byron Graves, and Christina Weinman. They will be there to talk about their books, and you can ask them questions as well. Check it out. It's January 28th from 11 a.m. to noon. You can register on Workday Learning for that. And our next Pop YS Live will be Story Time on the Go. And we'll be talking about books to select for story times when you're doing outreach, and how you can reach other populations with story times. Again, you can register for those sessions on Workday Learning. And I got it in, by a minute. By a minute. My goodness. And that, my friends, is all that I've got. That is all I've got. Wow. And Amanda, there she is. There she is. For those of you with the links for Pinterest, the Pinterest boards and the state library's Pinterest boards, I will put them up on Library Talk because I know we're running out of time. Is that okay, Amanda, if I just do that?
Yeah, that's totally fine with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you to our panelists today. Thank you for all of your insight. We appreciate it. Thank you to everyone attending, and thank you for Amanda for producing the webinar. We will see you next month. Have a wonderful afternoon, and thank you.